You're listening to the Comic Crusaders podcast. I am your host, Al Mega, CEO of Comic Crusaders and Undercover Capes. In this show, I'm sitting down with creators from all walks of life to talk about inspiration, process, the lessons they've learned, and a whole lot more. Wepa, Crusaders familia, it's your man Al Mega back in the building, baby. And today we're gonna be diving deep, and I mean like deep core sci-fi fantasy deep into a wild new Kickstarter that's bringing the heat, baby. That's right, and it's live now. This Kickstarter, let me tell you, because we're talking epic world building, laser popping action, and the main character with more mystery than your last 3 X's combined, baby. So that's right. We're going to be chopping it up with a multi-talented podcaster, actor, writer. I mean, my man is a creative force of nature. All right. So from GPG Presents to Opposing Roles, this dude lives and breathes stories. And now he's digging into a high octane saga with Excavator. This is 1, 2, and 3, baby. All right. So buckle up, fam. It's going to be a ride through sci-fi fantasy realms you'll never forget with the one, the only, the legendary Mr. Nick Arganbright. Woo! Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you for having me. That is like the best. Can I just have you with me at all times to just do my intro? Because like I get embarrassed when people give me compliments, but I'm listening to that, I'm going like, yeah, I am. This is awesome. Like, yeah,
bro.
Yeah.
You're a crusader, baby. You crusade in the indie room like no other, kicking ass, Nick. So I appreciate you coming on and spending some time with me and the Crusader family to talk about your amazing project, Excavator, and your journey throughout, you know, this geekdom and culture of ours.
Yeah.
So let's kick it off, baby. How do you balance being a podcaster, actor, writer, and possibly a time traveler? Like, what fuels this creative grind?
So that's a great question. I will say, pick your battles. Know when you need to work on what. For example, the podcast side of things, we're slowly recording new stuff, but we're not focused. That's not the primary focus right now. The primary focus is Excavator. And I'm sure once we get into the podcast zone, Excavator will still be there, but it'll be a little step back a little bit while we're working on that, and they'll kind of just shift in and out. If you can multitask, like where you can do everything full force 100% or do 200%, God love you. I just learned that for a work-life balance, it can be challenging, and so for me at least, you always got to kind of push one down a little bit, move it back up and around, which can be frustrating because you want to do everything 100% for each, so 200%, 300, but you gotta step back and focus on one particular thing. And also,
Nick, do not worry. Your AI robot is coming soon. That'll clone you, and you can just tell it, "Yo, do this like I do," and then that's it. And then you can have a whole workforce of Nicks, you know, of building Excavator and more.
Hell yeah!
Could you imagine this? Come on, but this is gonna be such a big hit. I mean, again, you're up to a 3rd issue, so it is. People do have an affection to it. I read issue 1 of this current project you got live, but I loved it. I immediately did connect with the characters, and you know, as I told you in the green room, I'm halfway through the 2nd issue, and I'm digging where you go, and you know, and it's funny certain things. I catch some references that you could kind of say, okay, they're modern, but you say it in a way that fits that world. But you know, yes, it's a nice counterbalance, and I like it. Like we spoke about in the green room, like one thing seemed like the other word. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I never thought of that before, and a matter of fact, it's one of those things I have to. No, I honestly like it is one of those things where, I have to think about things a little bit differently on that. But it was, I actually have a spreadsheet of words of what they mean in that world and where they got from, and it's pretty crazy. I should pull it up later and just show you some of them. Like marzibles is another word. Is the other word for S, the S word.
Okay.
So when someone say, "Hey, quit being a marzible head," it's really like a clever way of. It's kind of like when you watch Firefly and they say Chinese and they're really using cuss words. It's that kind of way. Well, it's like Star Wars. I forget what Star Wars, but Princess Leia was it New Hope or Empire? She's like, you're a scraggy nerf herder, whatever. It's really a derogatory term what she's calling Han Solo there, but like, yeah. And so it's just a fun way to kind of say different euphemisms in this world versus our world, and
I caught on to that
catches
quick.
on.
No, I caught on quick because just how your character reacted in that scene. And just and just to see that there was, again, the way you worked it. I'll let people read it for themselves, but you did find cool there, and I love that. Now, with Excavators giving us, of course, those post-apocalyptic, Indiana Jones, anime madness. Now, what was the aha moment that made you say, "Yeah, Excavator, this is the thing I want to write"?
So. I still do it as an actor. I was in a radio show. It's called "It's All Been on Radio Hour." A friend of mine does it, but but I don't necessarily control the stories and all that. And I would help out writing. And I got to a point where I wanted to focus more on my own stuff. That's one part of it. The other part of it is I live in Columbus, Ohio. And about two and a half hours away, my wife's family lives. And so we would go visit them from time to time. And there's this beautiful, and it doesn't matter where, if it's driving to Cleveland from Columbus or other parts of the country, sometimes if I'm not focusing on driving, I'll as a passenger, I'll look out the side and I'll look at the countryside. And there's a great song by the Talking Heads called "Nothing But Flowers," where the joke is that if you I look at a field or factory and now there's nothing but flowers. He's kind of being tongue-in-cheek about it, saying, remember the day when we did have McDonald's and we had civilization? I look at the opposite side. I was like, what was it like back then where there was just trees and whatever? And in that thought process, I started seeing this little humanoid turtle guy dressed kind of like the 10th Doctor, and this girl wearing, I don't remember if it was looking futuristic or if it looked like a hooded sweatshirt from our time, but she had a big anime sword and she was with him. I didn't know what they were carrying. They were on a mission to go somewhere, and that's all I had. And that was how that first kind of popped in there. And then mixing it with the yearn to tell another story, I started looking into well, what is that about? Like, what is he carrying? Because I knew he had a satchel too, but what's in there? And why does he seem like why does he need her protection? And is why? Because you're a turtle, a humanoid turtle, surely that can do something. There are 4 others that are ninjas. So there has to be doing something. And so that's kind of where that impetus came from for Excavator.
Excellent. So was this world? All right. So let's talk tone. Now, this book blends sci-fi, fantasy, and action adventure. How do you juggle those genres without dropping the narrative, Mike?
It's hard. It's hard because sometimes I feel like I'm being too character driven as well at some points. So sometimes I feel like I'm going in and out of all those, but I have some friends of mine who also act as my editors, Katie Boisenall and Jessica Gibson. They're fantastic, and they kind of help set me on the right path if I start to either a little too far off in this one area, and make sure that I stay on a very even keel with what I'm trying to project. So, and look, by default, it's kind of like Star Wars or even Avatar: The Last Airbender. You're in the sci-fi setting by default. You don't have to lean too hard into it, just enough that you world build just enough that you give people just the common clues to know what's going on, and then they can handle the rest. The audience can handle the rest. You don't have to bonk them over the head too hard with it, and then from that point, focus on the story, and the plot, and it'll take care of itself.
Excellent. So, be real. If you had to describe Excavator using only 80s action movie taglines, what would you hit us with?
Oh, jeez. Action movie tagline. So, man, I love movies. So this is really hard because then I realize now my memory of movies taglines are not as good as they used to be. But jeez Louise. Okay, this is horrible. The only thing I can think of is Gremlins, Here They Grow Again. It's the only one that's popping in there, but there has to be other better ones. I'm trying to think I'm sure was it the movie Real Genius? I like that one. I'm sure I could probably grab something from that too, that tagline too. But or maybe a part of the tagline, but I know the only thing I can think of for sure that's a legit is like here they grow again, and that's all I.
But I love asking creators these questions because it throws them completely off. When you're like, what the hell, shit? Don't make me think right now like that.
Well, right. The only other one I can throw out there, it's 90s officially. It's March of 90, but it's hey dude, this is no cartoon, which is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, because I'm a big Ninja Turtle fan. Yeah, so
I could see a thing based on inspiration here, right?
Yeah, right.
All right, so which character in the book is the most like you, and which one would definitely throw you off a cliff?
Okay, that is also a great. Okay, legitimate. So I think about this all the time. I think the younger version of me, I can still be very trusting. Our lead character Boone, the titular excavator, he is very naive and very trusting. He wants to see the best in everybody. I have that same thing too, a little bit, where, but then my cynicism kicks in a little bit. I think the most like me would be Ozzy, which is the girl with the big sword. There's another character who is introduced in the third issue, which you can get on the Kickstarter at the link there, or go to excavatorcomic.com. Excuse me again, I'm so sorry. But that character's name is Opal, and she would definitely throw me off a cliff. She would hurl me off there so fast because she doesn't, because I think that's the thing, is that it's almost varying. You have three characters who are in varying stages of how the world treats them. And so, Boone is starting to realize, oh, maybe the world is not as great as I want to believe it to be. Ozzy has felt that, and she's to the precipice where maybe a few more things she could be pushed too far, where she would throw me off the cliff. And then Opal has definitely been pushed that far, and she would like to see me fly. So that's that's a pretty interesting, because Opal has. And that's something I hope to get into too, is Ozzy and Opal's backstory as well, which is like, why are they broken to that point? And, will they eventually in the process break Boone as well? Like, that's a big thing.
I'm about to bring this Kickstarter up. Before I do, let's talk about this before I bring it up visually, all right?
Okay.
Because the art of this book is straight up fire, all right? So how did you link up with your creative team, and what kind of chaos do y'all cook up? Tell us the story of that promance, if you will.
Yeah. So Neil Carmona. So originally, Neil wasn't the artist I had in mind. There was another artist I followed on Twitter. She was very lovely, and she was opening for commissions. And as a matter of fact, she said, "I'm looking for work," and I hired her commission. She drew Opal, Boone, and Ozzy. And then when I said, hey, I would love to have you do this full time, do sequential art, do a comic with me, she's like, I actually just got another job and I'm not that interested anymore. I'm really sorry. Goodbye. And so I was like, okay. And so then, but she pointed me into the direction of a website called ArtStation, which I did at the time. I was still in the world of DeviantArt is where you go, because I wasn't hip to the groove that you need to go to. No, honestly, like I
get it, bro. You and me both, man. We're of a certain age, and there's certain, it's hard to keep up with everything at times. But now, listen, now I'm the one keeping up more than everybody else. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? I was like, Jesus Christ. All right, now, I mean, it makes me happy. I'm finally not behind, but
well, no, I'm starting to get there too. And so she sent me to ArtStation, and I was just looking at, I think I typed in like strange creatures or something like that, because the world is populated with strange creatures, normal for their world, but to us, definitely, some of them look animals, but some of them don't look like anything we've seen before. What would that look like? And there was this one artist, Neil Carmona, popped out, and I just said, hey, would you be willing to, give me some shots of these characters? And he gave me some drawings of Neil and Ozzy, or not Neil, he is Neil, Boone and Ozzy. And I was like, oh my God, he's adorable. She's badass. I love it. And then from there, that's how we got Neil involved with the art. And, Neil is just absolutely amazing. And matter of fact, it's one of the best things that I love about the book is that the book just looks beautiful. If there's ever a moment where I do drop the ball on anything, Neil is there to kind of pick it up, because his art is so amazing. And I'm beyond thankful every day for Neil as our artist.
Oh, here you go. Big salute to your artist right there. Now, let me bring this baby up now. I don't know if Google Chrome is still on their nonsense with the audio. I'll check that in a moment. But other than that, let's talk about this, baby. Let's talk about it. We have
Yeah.
20 days to go. A big salute to 52 backers. Yeah, man. Thank you for
Yeah.
supporting showing indie comic books that type of love. I love seeing that. Now, my man here is looking for 3,500. You know, and we're getting there. We're at 1,500. You know, just 2 racks to go. We got 20 days. That's 3 pay periods. You know, I mean, somebody gets paid with one of these 3 weeks for sure. So there's no bullshit. You know, there is money out there. It's flowing. Some of y'all still getting your tax returns, you know, back now. So don't play. I mean, support indie comics. Throw in, baby. The link is right there. It's also in the show notes. All right. I mean, but this project is live now. Let me test. You tell me, my man Nick, if you hear any audio, please.
Yeah, I will for sure.
You're an excavator?
I hear it. Well, I heard it and then now it went away. Sorry.
And there
You
we
do
go.
look like you could use
They wants to
protection.
act up.
But this here,
There it is.
this is what you're gonna deliver?
Ozzy?
Aw, come on, now what?
Here's the show back. Where's the one known as Doggo?
Leave him alone.
Oh, yeah?
Or what, Clark?
Or,
Or that.
Look at those colors, vibrant, hip hop, man. That lettering, those action sequences. That lettering, squelch.
Being an excavator was such dangerous work, right, kid?
Yeah.
Live now, baby. It is live now. Everybody, please show some love and support for this amazing independent project. Put my man up here on top. He needs to start educating us on what we're going to be looking at over here. There goes that dope right there. Had to love that. Great lettering.
Yeah. That is a great, Andrew, he's from Ukraine. He did our logo. He is phenomenal. I'm so glad I found him. I found him on Twitter, actually. He's fantastic.
On Twitter, X, you know, for
Twitter,
youngins.
sorry. Yeah.
Some of them youngins don't remember when it was Twitter, so long ago now. Yeah.
I know, right? Isn't that crazy? Jeez.
All right, so introduce us here. So who's who here?
All right, so the girl in front with the badass sword, that is Oswald Clark, or Ozzy. And then the little guy behind her, looking very afraid, like he is all the time, is Boone, or Boonford T. Doggle, or Boondoggle. Yeah, right. Originally, the comic was called Boondoggle, and I looked it up online in the Library of Congress to see if it was like getting something, and they didn't have anything in the copyright name. But I just didn't do a general Google search. I just went right to the. I bypassed everything, which was stupid.
Yeah.
And Steve Seglin, who actually did a comic in the 90s called Boondoggle, it was a very big independent comic in like 90 to 96 or whatever. He just said, "Hey man, I need you to change the name because I'm planning within the next 5 years to bring it back." And I was like, "Oh, okay, sure, yeah." So and it was hard.
Did he approach it? I wonder how did that conversation go? I'm always curious when accidentally things like that happen. How was that conversation?
It was super awkward because it was via email. He's like, "Hey, are you the guy behind this Kickstarter for? It's called Boondoggle." Because originally, the first time we launched it as a graphic novel for the 6-issue arc was all just one book, and it was a little too ambitious. Being that it's my first big project in a while. Like I wasn't thinking in that regard. I was hoping a prayer kind of thing. And we did okay. We got 9,000 of 30,000. It's still not a laughing matter, right? But of course, it's Kickstarter, meaning that it didn't pass. It didn't pass the mustard. So, but he messaged me towards the end of that, and was just like, "Are you this guy?" And I was like, "Yeah, what's up?" And he's like, "Yeah, I need you to stop that, please." And he was very polite about it. He was very polite. He didn't, and he
Awesome.
never threatened or anything like that. But he said, but I knew that. Look, he's a professional. He, as his normal job is a political cartoonist, I think in North Carolina, and so on top of working on his baby from the '90s, like still on the side. So he's still a professional that works in this community. He's part of the National Cartoonists. I want to be part of this community, even if I'm just the writer. I want to be part of it. I don't want to step on any toes. So I, of course, said I'm so sorry, and I will talk about how we're changing this. And so I noted that, hey, this is changing. Once the book is done, if the Kickstarter is successful, this will change going forward. So that way, when the book would be printed, if it was printed, it would say Excavator or whatever we would decide on. So it was a whole thing. But I mean, he was super gracious, and then he is also one of the first people that gives me a little note or backs us when we do a new issue. So he's super supportive, and again, I'm very appreciative of that.
Isn't that nice? See, folks, that's why I want you to tell me that story, because that was goes to show collaboration. What's up? You never know what will come out of it. You cooperated, and you guys are friends, and look at that. You have synergy, and that's great because you cooperated. You weren't a dick about it. Because I've seen horror stories where people come off very, very dickish in these opportunities. Things happen like this, and it's awful. Listen, kill them with kindness, and you be kind back, and you never know where that goes, kiddo.
Yeah, and I'll throw this out there too, and I'm a big believer in that as well. Jim Henson, in a letter to his kids that he left in his will for his kids. I'm going to paraphrase it here, but it's kind of the underlying theme in all my stories, including Excavator. You might not think of it, you might not see it's there, but it is there. It might take some while for us to get to it, but it's Jim Henson said, it's a great life, love and forgive everybody. And I even when that's really hard to do, you know what I mean? When people are to the point where they should not be yearning or earning of love or forgiveness, and as a real human being that has real emotions, that can be hard to do, right? But I believe that no matter how hard it is, and I do include that somewhere deeply and it's seated into all the stories, and so I want to be approached in a kind manner, and I hope that I can approach other people in that kind manner too. So because he could have come at me really hard and said, change this now, I'm going to sue you. And he never once did that. He was very polite about it. Yeah. And so, again, super appreciative of that. So, because I did a fan project that got a cease and desist letter, and that was like, like that was so, and they were so cold and heartless.
Again?
yeah. Well, I wish, and that was just like, there's this other fan project, you're letting that happen, but you're not like, what? And like, come on.
You know why? Because it was that good. It was that good. They were jealous.
Honestly, you know what? That's when I tell myself at night. But you never really know. But yeah.
All right. So let's get into this now, because you got 3 issues locked and loaded, baby. So what kind of insanity can the fans expect if they back this thing right here from the jump, baby?
Oh, it's going to be insane. So we have the first 2 issues, and then of course issue 3. So Boone stumbles upon this ancient artifact, alien ancient artifact, and he, for noble reasons, wants to sell it, save the family farm, that old chestnut. But to do it, he needs to leave his hometown, something he's never done before. And when he leaves town, he realizes he needs protection. And so that's where Ozzy, the girl with the big sword, steps in. And she's very honest. She's like, I'm just doing this for the money. Let's go. You're nothing to me but, a paycheck kind of thing. And the process, when Ozzy gets involved, it's when they realize other bounty hunters are after Boone and possibly the artifact. And so issue 3 is with them running into the forest, trying to escape their pursuers. And also Ozzy has a bounty on her kind of too. It's set up in issue 2 that other people could turn her in to get a bounty on her head. So, they're not just after Boone necessarily, they're after her too. So there's a lot of parties closing in.
Basically, it's a shit show that's about to pop off in an epic way.
Oh, yeah. And then when you throw bounty hunters and like the police state, and this is called the Sovereign or City Watch, when you get City Watch, bounty hunters, after them, and then you also get giant creatures that are they're just hungry, looking for a meal in this forest. Yeah, you're gonna shit's gonna go nuts.
Huh. But I'm okay. I'm starting to see what you're saying here because I met the City Watch character. All right, what type of connections you're building here? All right, I cannot wait. I mean, and this art does look beautiful. It's fire, man. I mean, look at this. Look at this lettering, the coloring. It's off the hook, man. Look at this homie. This one, yeah, this is issue 1 preview, folks. And you get to meet homie here that everybody's afraid of in town. You always had that one old lady, old person in your neighborhood that lived in a creepy house, right?
Yeah. You have that person that lived in that creepy house, and they might look creepy, but are they creepy? That's always a big thing too. And then and also that person is from a different generation, so they're expecting different things from you as a person of the world. There's certain levels of respect, and maybe you're not aware of what that is because they're from that different generation, right?
Yeah.
And because of that, maybe they're closed off to learning about your generation. So there's a little bit of a back and forth there with Mr. Lakeith and Boone. That's pretty great. And of course, he just looks like a possibly super creepy character, which that was the design. Like I just said, I want him to look like an old Western Undertaker, really tall and lanky. Even though his species isn't usually tall and lanky or lanky, he's very thin, very old manish, like Undertaker vibes. And Neil just delivered in spades. So I love it.
I think that you said that because it feels like there's a heavy sense of legacy and truth that's buried within the book, right? So are you secretly kind of writing your therapy sessions into epic battles here?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, I'm looking at how things are going on in the world, and I'm looking at things that are impacting my life directly, and some of my friends' lives personally as well. And then also, like, I am unintentionally. I don't want to be, because remember I said that whole thing about Jim Henson earlier. I believe that, but I am Ozzy, more or less, right? I'm cynical. I believe that it's going to be really hard for people to change. It's going to be hard to love and forgive everybody, but I want to keep working towards that. And so, yeah, I am working my. But I think all good storytellers do work out their shit and their stuff. You know what I mean? It might not be super apparent. You know what I mean? Sometimes it'll be super apparent, but other times it won't be. And I think that's the joy of that, and trying to find those little nuggets. It's at that point it becomes like an Easter egg hunt, which I really love. Oh yeah, I love that page.
Yeah, this page is gorgeous. I use the rares, that go against a hoodie, if you will, the color of that. I mean, just the whole scenery, everything looks dope. And again, not too much focus, because again, I like how you put shadows in the back instead of having to draw the full character, so you have this emphasis on what's going on right in front of you. Kind of that portraits type of scene, if you will. I dig it. A lot.
And that's the bounty hunter Jawan that shows up. That is after Boone, or possibly Ozzy, but he's more after Boone than Ozzy. But at this point, yeah, he's it's pretty crazy.
Gangster looking. I mean, vicious.
Yeah.
Vicious look. I don't want to even look at this thing.
Well, and the thing that I really love too is that he. When I was talking to Neil about designing him, I was like, this is our universe's, my version of Boba Fett, right? Like the bounty hunter who is just like, you don't want to cross this guy, right? Out of all the bounty hunters ever, he's at the top of the list. You don't want to mess with him. And I just said, and I just said, my only real hint to him was, in terms of what I like him to look like, was if he could, is think of Zorak from Space Ghost. Or Space. I grew up with Space Ghost Coast to Coast, even though I watched the original show. I remember him more from the talk show version, but I was like, I look at this guy and I think of him a little bit, and then Nils like made him more lizard-like than bug-like, very lizardy, and we worked out both like the design of their species and the character. I mean, he's a beautiful yet terrifying character.
I mean, look at him right there. He's big too. He ain't messing around.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he's a badass.
All right, so let me ask you, having some fun.
Yeah.
Now, fun question. If Excavator was a Netflix series, who's playing the lead? And now give me the dream casting is an unlimited budget. Don't you worry. Don't hold back. We're spending money, baby.
All right, so only because I've heard their voices in my head for so long. They're in the trailer. but Jessica and Katie would be my first choice for Ozzy and Opal.
Yeah.
I would not be my choice for Boone. I had to do Boone as a necessity. I would not do that because I want someone more innocent and kind of naive in my voice, and I feel like you can still kind of hear the cynicism in my voice a little bit still, unfortunately. You know, because he's
you've been soured by life. Oh my
I
God.
have right, and you need that. And look, I love to act, and I think I'm an okay actor, especially voice actor. But and again, I'm also my own worst critic, right? So I think there's part of that too. But if the studio came back to me and said no, we refuse to take Jessica and Katie. There is a woman from the YouTube channel Smosh, Angela Giatara. I would totally cast her as Opal, Firestarter. In terms of in terms of Ozzy, that's more of a difficult one. And because I would be so dead set on having Katie voice her, honestly, the thing with Angela popped in my head like a week or two ago. I was watching the video on Smosh and I was like, God, she would be a really good version of Opal. But Ozzy, I have to think about that one a little bit more. To be very honest with you, I don't have one that pops in the head right away. But
that's all right. Yeah. Remember, it's an unlimited budget. It'll pop into your head. You can have anyone you want. Don't you worry.
Yeah. Oh no. Oh God. Yeah. I mean, that's the beauty of the stream casting is, if you had, no budget or unlimited budget to cast whoever you want. I'm of the opinion, as a big fan of animation, though, that sometimes they do stunt casting and it's just too much stunt casting, and that can be a bad thing too when you have voice actors who've been in the industry for years that get, or sometimes that will happen is they'll bring them in, they'll record the full part like they won the part, but then something like Jeffrey Katzenberg last minute will go, let's get Steve Martin in that voice, and so they re-record over their dialogue with that actor, and sometimes it's a great performance, don't get me wrong, but sometimes it's not, so it's kind of where it's okay. So but yeah, I'll have to think a little bit more about Ozzy. You know what, if she could do an American accent, which I'm sure she can, but I'd like to hear more of it. The character is named after Amelia Clark. Let's go after Amelia Clark.
Hey, there we go. All right,
there we go.
Money. He's spending the money.
If I had to do that stunt casting, I would totally quit. Now, in terms of Jawan, that character would have to be super imposing vocally. You can do what I did with the voice and kind of modify it to make it sound whatever. But it would need to be terrifying. Again, for stunt casting, let's go. The guy he's playing, Ben Grimm, in the new Fantastic Four movie. He's in The Bear. I can't think of the actor's name. He's a wonderful actor, though. He's really good at playing bad guys, though, too, or characters of questionable. I would cast him. I can't think of his name right now. I feel really bad about that. But yeah, we'll do him.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Now, this is not your first creative rodeo. So how has your journey as a storyteller evolved since the first project?
Oh, man. So my first real project as a creator really was something called a webcomic. It's not a great webcomic. It's called Dribble for Kids. It's not actually for kids. No, I know that's a weird. Again, I didn't have the foresight to think about that when I did it. You know what I mean? Because I was like,
did you not have comic book geek friends that told you? I don't think that's a good title.
Well, no, because I had friends that were good friends in a bad way, which was like, dude, this is awesome. This is awesome. This is so great. We can draw all that.
I hate those. The cheerleader friends. No, listen, friends. Yeah. Real friends, be fucking honest. You don't want your friend to look like shit, so be honest. If it's bad, it's bad. But if we're asking, you're not breaking our hearts.
Yeah.
We'll break our heart is that if you tell us it's good and tell somebody else it's shit, and then like, oh, you lie, that's fucked up.
Right. And so I did have some, and to be clear, they did genuinely like the comic, which I don't know why. I think part of it is because maybe they were in on some of the in jokes or whatever. Again, that's why I'm saying I didn't. And also I was drawing it and I'm not a good artist. If this was done in my art style, it would be horrible, absolutely horrible. That's why I need Nil to help me tell the story. So it's because if not, no one would give a second thought to it to get to the actual what the story is, because of that art is needed. But yeah, so I learned that I'm not a good artist. I need someone else. And then also in the process, I learned that I was writing more to my weaknesses and not my strengths. Because I knew I can't draw characters doing this or doing that. So I would limit my writing ability. And the whole thing is like with comic books, you can do anything you want. right? You can have like, that's the, like when you, for those who might not remember the comic, there's a comic called Calvin and Hobbes. Calvin is this little boy who has an amazing imagination. And even though the tiger may or may not be part of his imagination, sometimes the two of them would go off into even larger imaginative worlds of him like flying a spaceship and all this and that. And then the next panel, he's talking to his mom and dad. And you can do anything with that, right? The budget is unlimited on the page as long as you can draw it. Or draw it well enough that the audience can go along that journey with you. And I learned that is not my forte. And so I started writing the comic, which wasn't great anyway, to my weaknesses, and thus it weakened the storytelling and the writing. And so then from there, I kind of stopped writing for a bit until I did two things kind of happened at once. My friend did It's All Been Done Radio Hour. And he needed help writing radio plays. And then at the same time, I started writing a fan comic for Ninja Turtles. And they both kind of hit at the same time. And because I was so bad at writing the audio drama for Radio Hour, I was watching Rocky and Bullwinkle on Hulu at the time, the original like 50s show. I was watching it, and I was in that twilight state you're in where like your eyes are closed, you're almost sleeping, but you can hear everything. Yeah. And I realized I knew exactly what was going on that show, even though it's animated, because they have a narrator. It's literally a radio play. And part of that was a budgetary constraint. They didn't have the money to animate all the stuff without the narrator. Yeah. And so I could sit there and tell you that Bullwinkle was doing this, and then he did this, and he did that because he's Bullwinkle. And then the narrator would kick in. And so I started writing out a Rocky and Bullwinkle radio. I did it as practice because my biggest problem is I'm a very wordy guy. And I'm also that way as a writer too. And so usually when I would write for Radio Hour, if it did work out, it turned out being decent, Jim would have to edit my stuff down horribly. And so I was like, how can I get this 30-page story I wrote down to 15 pages? Can I get it to 10? Maybe 12? Dude, yeah. And so I used that as so it's really every step along the way, there's always been something building towards. And like that's one of the things with Excavator. I would overwrite, and so then Katie and Jess would kind of reel me back in. There's another way you can maybe say this in a much more shorter, concise way, more precise. Maybe can you think of something? And then I would go back and go, oh, it took me a second, but yeah, how about this? Or how about this? Or is this important enough that I want to spend more time on it and do that as well? So that's kind of been the adventure and journey. And then when I realized I wanted to do my own thing, I realized I obviously should not be drawing it because that's the lesson I learned with Dribble for Kids. And that's when I started looking for an artist. And it's been crazy. And then the other fun part too that I learned is that, and this may be confusing and I apologize, but so remember earlier I said originally this was launched as a graphic novel called Boondoggle. Originally, issue 3 was the first chapter of the book. And so when Neil drew those first few pages for me, it was supposed to be the beginning of the book, but I was reading reviews for comic books at the time where a lot of books were starting in media res. So like you read you're in the middle of issue 2, but that first book that was going to be eventually flashbacks. It wasn't. And so part of it was I didn't fully have it fleshed out. I didn't know all of it necessarily already. And so when the Kickstarter, didn't do well, that first one didn't do well, and I had to step back, I was reading reviews for other comics, and they're like, there's a lot of in media res, but part of the problem is that you just don't know where the writers don't seem to know where they're starting at. And they don't know the beginning of the story. The only time in media res works is if you really truly know what happens at the beginning of the story. And I realized, oh my God, they're talking about me. Even though they have not read my synopsis or anything else, they're talking about me. And so when that Kickstarter didn't do well and we had to cancel it, I stepped back, looked at it, and realized, okay, I need the beginning of the story, and I need to show these two characters meeting. I can't talk about it in flashback. I know it'd be more interesting, right, to get into the action faster, but I need to show. And so technically, issue 1's more about Boone as a character. It's a little bit of plot, but mostly story. And then issue 2 is a little bit more plot, but mostly story, introducing Ozzy. And then issue 3 kind of wraps that part up. We'll wrap that up by introducing Opal to the fold and how she complicates things as antagonists towards the group. So
cannot wait. And how many issues is this first arc going for?
First arc is going to be 6 issues.
Oh, nice. Excellent. Let's get down to it, baby, because again, you know, what for you is the perfect backer experience? Like, what do you want the fans to feel, see, and scream when they get this book in their hands?
So when they get the book in their hands, I hope first off that it lulls them to a nice sense of security that, oh, this is a comforting book. And then bam, what the heck's going on? Why are these people after them? Oh my God, what's that thing? Why is that thing after them? And oh my God, are they going off? Wait, are they all cool now? Or wait, no, one of them's going to betray the other one. And that's the kind of fun back and forth I'm hoping they will experience at reading the books. In terms of as a backer, what else do they get besides the book? You know, I think we have an amazing shirt that was designed as well by Nil. It's a great shirt. Matter of fact, it's one of the things we both kind of talked about. Every Kickstarter or every new issue will have a different like exclusive shirt design going out. And the other thing I'm really excited about too, as a backer, we have 2 other covers. One by Emmanuel Perez, the other one by, as a big fan, you have it there kind of queued up almost. It's Ken Mitroni of Archie Comics' Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Adventures. He did a cover for me for this. Yeah, there it is. Beautiful. It's as someone who grew up reading the Archie comic books for Ninja Turtles and then having him draw that. And ink it, and I have it somewhere over here. It's absolutely beautiful. It's gorgeous, and I love it so much. It's like a childhood dream almost. Not almost, it is. And so I think to people to have that cover or the cover drawn by Emmanuel, it would be again, it's just amazing. It's a nice little throwback to like a 1970s Marvel comic book, you know, where because that was the big thing, right? Stanley would always say, "We put words on our covers. They didn't," you know, that kind of thing. And so we did the whole, it's the Gobulax. What is it? Blah, blah, blah. Danger. Yeah, that kind of thing.
But dude, I think for me, this is comic books, man. Seeing covers like this is what makes a comic book fun. Yeah, you can have your cool little artsy fartsy looking books with a single and, you know, variants, whatever crap. But I think for a cover this will always have an appeal like this. Put that word on the shit. Make it action packed. Make it eye candy, man. You know, they make the other ones, the BCs, whatever you want, but the A should always be like this.
And that's something that I've talked about really hard with Jessica and Katie too, about covers. Before I get a cover back from Nil, I go, well, what is Nil going to give me? Because sometimes I don't know what Nil's going to give me. I might give him a suggestion if he goes, I don't know what to do. Would you have a suggestion for me? I'll give it to him, but he doesn't have to take it. I will let him give me, you know, some differences if need be. This one I did have a suggestion for him, and he gave me his own spin on it, which is amazing. But again, what do you add to that cover? Because it so beautifully speaks to the mystery, which is like, why is she looking in the reflection of her sword? What is all that? Is it that looks like it's probably blood? Why is that? And then what's that little chain there, you know, that kind of thing. So that is a pinup that we have from 75 Studios. Ryan Cody, just absolutely beautiful. A matter of fact, that is something that you can you can get for backing. If there's a tier where if you back us, you can get that pinup, or you can get the cover by Emmanuel Perez. We also have lo-fi albums. That was something. So we don't know it just yet, but music's going to be a huge part of Excavator in the world, and as reader. And it's one of those things where during COVID, when I was writing and rewriting it, the Lo-Fi Girl was a big thing that I would listen to sometimes to decompress before I listened to my normal like inspirational playlist. And I worked with some original artists. The first one for the first 2 albums was Amzone, and he produced some amazing lo-fi music for us. And so we're being able to go out there and put that out.
Nice. I made a comic. I call it Comic-Fi playlist. I'm on YouTube over here. Look it up on the Mega Studios playlist. It's called Comic-Fi, but it's fun. It's about 45 minutes of lo-fi type music, but meant to spark comic book creative spirit, if you will.
No, I'll have to check that out. No, that's amazing, dude. I'll have to listen to that, because I do like still listening to, I mean, I'm not just I hate to say it, like, I'm not just peddling this, right? I do enjoy this music, and I really do love it. Matter of fact, there's was it Dreamscapes is another favorite YouTube channel of mine
yes,
too.
Yes. I like them a lot.
And they actually have like an animated, like a mascot that they actually, where Lo-Fi Girl, I think, was unintentional. It was just whoever it was, just had that image animation running on loop. This person came in with like a plan of, there's almost like a story being told in the videos if you pay attention. And I think that's just so amazing and cool.
It is.
And the music is awesome too. So,
agree.
So yeah. And then there's the shirt.
Nice.
Excuse me. I was talking about, and nice. It's just, it's so beautiful. And it was guys, when I say this, it was 1,000,000 times better than what I had suggested for. I mean, that's the thing with Neil. He blows me away every single time.
Let's tell the folks though, right? Here's how simple it is for them to get involved in this wonderful project. The link is below. For look, $7 gets you a digital edition of issue numero 3. All right. $10 to get special thanks to your name printed at the end of issue 3 plus a digital PDF copy. All right. Early birds, are they still? No more early birds are around, right?
Yeah, the early birds, they went out a few days ago. Unfortunately,
Well, they're lost. Now, if you want to do the editions of 1, 2, and 3, it's you get them at $18. All right. Now, if you want to start getting those physical copies, those sexy books where you want to smell the ink, baby, you start going for the nil mono cover at $20. Right. Then we got the Ken Metroni cover also at $20. The physical edition, the Emmanuel Perez $20. You get the physical cover at A's issue 1, 2, and 3, all A covers for $30. Ooh, that's dope. You get issue 3s. Also covers ABC for $30. You also get the digital editions for those that don't want to, wrinkle, or you want to see your Jones over here. You get the digital copy. Now this is gonna shirt. Oh my God! Is it $15, bro?
Yeah, that to me is the one I think is the best, in my opinion, the best deal, because you get the PDFs of everything, and you get all 3 issues, and you get the really cool shirt from Neil that Neil designed. You get everything. So. That's why I think that one's pretty great.
And then it goes the Sound of Music. Oh wow, you get the tea, you get the music, the books, PDFs, and fizzies.
Yep,
nice.
And there's a second one. So this is the second album, right? And the next tier is the Sounds of Music, plural, where you get volume 1 and volume 2 of the Lo-Fi album.
Check that out for $75.
Yeah, that's also a pretty good one. I would say this is going to shirt in the Sounds plural of music is.
And I do want to point this out because I have friends that always complain about shirts not being in their size. My man here has not effed around. He got from sizes small all the way to 5XL. You hear me, folks? He is not playing, so everybody that's a fan, listen, he's including the whole world in this motherfucker. He ain't playing. Well, thank you for doing that, because I have friends that have that, and I feel bad for them. Like, they love a shirt, and they feel so sad not making their size anywhere. And I'm like, damn, and they love it. It's not. It just sucks to see that kind of the sadness in their eyes. Like, shit, bro, I can't. There's so many things I would love to wear, but can't because they don't make it in my size.
100% correct. And as a big guy, like, that's always been a problem, is that. And I just realized if I'm going to do this, I should not be going with someone who only stops at a 2XL or maybe 3. I need to go for someone who, if I was backing it, I would like to know that I have the option to get the shirt if I want the shirt, if I think it looks really cool. Yeah. And because that's the thing, is a lot of people, that option's not there. And so I am very proud of that fact that we do offer that, and I'm beyond excited.
I wanted to point that out. Salute on you for doing that, man. That's some good shit right there.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Then we got Fade into the Background for 2. What do you mean fading into the background? What's popping?
Okay, so because we're already planning ahead with issue, obviously 4, 5, and 6. Issue 4, you can be a background person in the background if you get that tier. And so kind of like that guy right there, kind of pointing out, he's in the background there of what's happening in that show. You can be a background character because they're going to a largely populated area in issue 4, and there's a lot of people that'll be moving about. So you have a chance to be in the background moving about. And then going a step further, you can get a co-producer credit, which is pretty cool because you will get a PDF, a short story that only you will get as a
Okay.
co-producer, and it's a one-time tier thing. You'll also get all the issues signed by me. That's not usually something I normally offer, but it is in case someone wants that. And you also will get there's also an ability in another tier that you can get if you're the collector. Not only you will get all the books signed by me, you'll get them signed by Nil. But that's a big thing. Oh, this one right here. Sorry. Get ready for your close-up. You will have a speaking line. And as a matter of fact, I'm not gonna lie, you will actually have a kind of a minor part in the issue, which
cool.
is pretty. Yeah, I'm trying not to oversell it on the Kickstarter or really at all, just because I don't want people to go on with the wrong idea. But you will have more than just like a line or two. You'll have more than a few lines in the book, and that's why it's one of one. So yeah, you guys get on that. It's pretty cool.
I think that's the way you gotta pitch this, my friend. Come on, listen, guys. You know what this is? For the nerd in your life that you love dearly, this is absolutely awesome. Imagine you supporting this Kickstarter, and then you give them that book, when it comes out, with their face in it, in a couple of panels, or sharing more than just a sentence. That is the ultimate geek brag. Right there. So I think that's a great gift for the nerd in your life. So definitely things like this are dope for me. This one and the other one, the co-producer credit, and even this one, the fade into the background. I think those are great gifts to give to people to kind of immortalize them and make them feel like, yeah, look at me, I'm on a book.
Yeah, and I will say this real quick about that is one of the guys who asked for a cameo in issue 2. He actually tweeted us on Instagram. He's like, "Look, Ma, I'm in the funny pages," and pointed to himself. I was like, "Yeah, buddy." So nice. There's the artwork, Ryan Cody original artwork that you can bid on as well. And if you do that, you get all the issues, physical copies of issues 1, 2, and 3. You get your name printed at the end of the book. It's pretty great. And then of course that's the physical artwork of Emmanuel Perez who does the second or the cover C. And then the collector, you get your own version of the ancient alien artifact.
Oh, word? What you mean?
You get your own version of the ancient alien artifact. I don't tell you exactly what it is. I mean, I kind of do. It's a protractor, but you get one. You get one, and the thing that's really interesting is that you would get the books signed by Nil. And for those who don't know, there's some shipping cost inflation stuff going on right now. Yeah. It's one of the reasons why, unfortunately, the collectors is higher than normal. But I think it's 100% worth it because Neil did not sign any books in the last Kickstarter. So this is going to be a really, really big, huge deal. If you really enjoy the property, he will be signing copies of the book, and it gives you everything. It gives you not only the ancient artifact, you get every iteration of the book. You get both covers from issue 1, both covers from issue 2, all 3 covers from issue 3. You get all the music. You get, you get the shirts as well. I mean, you get. And of course, the big thing for me, I think, is really cool. You get the ancient alien artifact. So, I think that's just so cool, and I love that. That's the collector.
Dig it. Look at this guy's running it, and these early birds are all gone. You guys missed all of that. Boo hoo hoo. How dare you? But you know what? There's definitely a whole bunch of other stuff you get into right now. A lot of fair price stuff going on. You get some value for your buck. You're supporting independent comics and an amazing creator right here, Nick. Again, let's make it happen, baby. Like you said before, we have 52 backers with a $3,500 goal. Let me do a refresh. Were there any changes that we're on? Sometimes people tend to jump in while we're on it. That would be nice. Please, no, how dare you guys? Come on, guys, jump in. The link is right there below on the screen. It's also in the show notes. You gotta show love, man. It's independent comics. This book is great. Highly recommend. I'm definitely looking forward to finishing issue 2, and then so it could get me excited for this 3rd issue. Which again, after what you said, I need to meet who the hell this other person is. You got me intrigued, good sir.
Well, maybe I want to throw it out there. Maybe they are actually in issue 2. I don't want to say for sure.
Tease. Oh man, I gotta really cannot wait to finish reading this.
Tea has been spilled, sir. Tea has been spilled.
Oh man. I think so Nick.
Yeah.
This is Comic-Con season right now. We're in the summer, baby. Are you making any appearances anywhere?
So I made kind of my 2 big appearances for the year thus far. That might change for the moment. I was at Space here in Columbus. It was the Small Press and Alternative Comics Expo. And then I was also at my home comic shop is the Eisner Award-winning Pack Rat Comics here in Hilliard, Ohio. And I was there, and which was a great weekend for me. I almost sold out completely of my books, and I had heard nothing but amazing things from the people there. So I was very blessed and very thankful. But part of it, honestly, it was a time thing. It's hard to when I started getting into the conventions. A lot of them, the tables were already booked up, so I couldn't get too many more. But I am looking forward to. I'm building up actually my calendar for 2026. So. That might change, of course. You can go to d4kstudios.net. I'll probably have updates there on my if that changes, or they can subscribe to the newsletter, or they can follow the Kickstarter, of course, and get it that way too. We'll update everybody there on upcoming appearances. But as of right now, I'm simmering under the surface for the moment.
Well, do you see this over here? It's like my beard is glowing in the sun.
Yeah, you got
sunlight.
You got the God rays going on right there.
It's reflecting sunlight. This is crazy. What's going on here?
Yeah.
You ain't move away. You think I'm a mutant with powers.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah.
All right, so Poppy, this is the last one right here. What's the legacy that you hope Excavator leaves behind in indie comics realm? And what's next for you and the Arganbright verse?
I would hope that it leaves behind the fact that hopefully I told a interesting story, and I told it hopefully well, and made him interested into reading other stories that follow along the same line. Because that to me is always a sign of a good story. Of you just feel the need to, you want to hear, you want to read, watch, you want to digest some kind of story, some kind of art in a different way. That's always my favorite stories. Whether it be movies, television, even music, you name it, comic books, novels. So I think that's one thing I would really like is get people more interested in other storytelling. And then in terms of other things, I do have other stuff. I would like to take another stab at Dribble for Kids, to be honest with you. I know that sounds crazy. I would need to be very clear that it is not for kids. But I also have some other. I'm also a big softie. This is where the Boone side comes up. I love a good rom-com. So I would love to do a rom-com comic book.
Why not? Bring back those romance comics. Say, listen, that's what Jack Kirby and them old boys got all started on, and that was a big genre, in its time. Huge genre, more so than superheroes.
Yeah, I have this story where it's kind of like secret agents, but with love. It's kind of the idea I've been counting about.
Like a Mr. and Mrs. Smith type of thing.
Kinda. I don't want to go. I don't want to bust it out too much just yet, just because I'm still cooking on it. But I would say you're in the general realms. Like they're not secret. They're not spies literally. They're spy. Okay. Yeah. So in that regard, but I would say this: they're matchmakers, but they're like on the down low. That's probably. And so, but they do exchange stunts and all this and that, but nobody knows who they are.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to it. And what about your pods? Anything we could expect on the pods and when they drop in next, or anything going on with them?
Yeah, so I'm hoping that in 2026, Good, the Bad, and the Geeky will return, even if it's a smaller season. Because I look at GBG as what I call GBG, the Good, the Bad, and the Geeky. I look at it as kind of TV, like a television series, like a season. And so I'm hoping to do another season. We already have like 2 episodes in the can. And I'm hoping to get a few more and then release those down the line as well. And then that way get to a point where I may be a season or 2 ahead of the release schedule kind of thing.
Oh, nice. That's the smart play right there. Definitely always, being ahead is always great for me. I love to go live because it's just, I like to have this energy. Catch you in the moments, and just speak about it so people could see. Because when it's pre-recorded and I'm editing, I don't know. I mean, it's cool, but when you see those stupid skips, sometimes that shit irks me. I don't want to see that. I want live energy. I want to be able to speak to people and speak in the moment, because that's what we need to be living life in the moment.
And I probably should do that too. My always thing is that I call it inceptioning the conversation, where if you those who've seen the movie Inception, what happens in real conversations with your friends, right? You're nerding out about Superman, but somehow that makes you talk about Jaws, and then talking about Jaws makes you talk about the TV show Friends, and then you go, wait, how did we get here? You got to go back up a level and then go back up a level to circle back around. And sometimes we inception so much that it is probably best that we do edit that down a little bit. But at least for me, for us, because if not, I'm like, why is he talking about this? How did we get here? And then you're like, oh yeah, we were talking about Guardians of the Galaxy, and somehow we were talking about this. It made no sense. So for me, editing helps a little bit to keep that a little bit more on track and make it a little bit more enjoyable for the audience. So, but no, I do love a good live show. I wish I could pull that off more consistently like you do, man. It's not worthy in that regard. So God love you.
Stop, man. I do it because I love my indie comics community and projects like this right here. You got to pledge down here to this live on Kickstarter. Is the project D4K Studios Excavator 1, 2, and número 3, a sci-fi fantasy action adventure. The link is on the screen. The link is also in the show notes. Show some love. And of course, you can follow my big homie on his socials on Instagram, which is Excavator Comics, and also Good Bad Geeky, Blue Sky Excavator Comics. That's Blue Sky. Same thing with Good Bad Geeky, and then also on X, same shit right there, right, baby? Good Bad Geeky and also Excavator Comics. My man locked it down across the socials. He was not playing. Handling that business, baby. Handling that business. All right.
But real quick, I just need to say, Katie, who's also my editor, she helps me out with some of my socials for Excavator. So I owe a big thank you, and she is absolutely amazing. So Katie, if you're listening to this, God love you. We love you, appreciate you every day. So thank you.
Salute, Katie. Salute to all you assistants and all that help, independent creators like my man Nick. You know, you guys are doing a great service and taking a lot off their plate, because again, being an indie creator or creator in general is not an easy task. So thank you, brother, as a fan and to a creator. Thank you, man, for real. I love the book. I can't wait to finish it after our conversation here, and then get into what number 3 is going to be all about. Woo! Well, right. Let's get it, baby. All right, we're almost there, folks. Let's get this baby funded, all right? One more time with that link right there, all right? Wepa, man. Excavator. Woo!
Excavator, issue 3.
Yeah, baby. So I'll make up with the amazing Nick Arganbright, all right? Chilling. Follow my man everywhere. Like I said earlier, all the links are below. Check out everything Comic Crusaders, the comiccrusaders.shop. You check out the previews, the reviews, the columns, the articles, and a whole lot more. All right? Hasta la próxima, mi gente. Much love.
Thank you for listening to the Comic Crusaders podcast. If you like the content, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Also, please visit comiccrusaders.com and our extended podcast family over at undercovercapes.com. And also, make sure to download the Comic Crusaders app on the Google Play Store today.